Hey everybody, it's Adam with the Pattaya News with a special report for you. It is the beginning of Songkran week, also known as the Thai New Year, that is just about to begin this week, starting from April 13th until April 19th. Yes, 7 days right here in Pattaya. Now, we've got 10 tips for you that I'm going to fly through. This is aimed at tourists and people that are planning to come to Songkran, especially for the first time. This is not aimed at our expat viewers or those who have lived here for decades. We know many of you are not a fan of the festival or are leaving or have already left town to avoid it. So it's not aimed at you. This is aimed at tourists and those who are coming to experience it, or those who might have forgotten what they need to, because hey, it's been 4 years since 2019 that we've had a full Songkran because of COVID-19 restrictions. So love it or hate it, let's get right into the tips. Tip number one, and by the way, these are in no order of importance, so don't think that the number one tip is the most important or vice versa. Tip number one, be prepared to get wet at all times. Yes, technically there's an unwritten rule that everything shuts down at 6 o'clock p.m. or 6:30 p.m. when the sun goes down, technically. However, the best way to make sure that you don't lose your temper or get angry or upset is be dressed and prepared to get wet no matter what time you go out of the day. That way you're guaranteed not to get upset if you get wet. Yes, as I stated, for the most part, things shut down at dusk except for the 18th, in which Walking Street plays all night on the 18th. But it's not guaranteed. So again, wear clothing, have your stuff protected, bring out what you expect to get wet at all times, or stay home. An addendum to that tip too, by the way. Keep in mind that since people are getting wet and roads and traffic will be higher, deliveries like food delivery may be delayed, especially towards the end of Songkran or the 18th and 19th. So you may want to make sure you're stocked up on food because you might get a lot of cancellations on Grab and other delivery services. Tip number two, have a quality waterproof bag for your belongings like your cell phone, and we'll get more to a cell phone in a minute, your wallet, your money, etc., whatever you're bringing out. Now, they'll be selling these waterproof bags all around Pattaya all week. However, from experience, these bags are not always the best bet, and often the seal gets broken, water gets inside of it, and your stuff may still get damaged. So we actually recommend to get a quality Ziploc bag or buy your own quality bag from a pharmacy or similar place, especially if you've got valuable belongings. That brings us to tip number three. Just because a phone says it's waterproof doesn't mean it is waterproof. Now, we understand that there are some phones on the market, especially from the past couple of years, that are really high quality and say that, you know, they're meant to be submerged in 3 meters for 30 minutes. Those are usually okay. But the majority of waterproof phones, especially older models, are more water resistant than waterproof from our experience. With every year that we've seen, all these people said, oh, my phone's fine, it's fine. And then it breaks, because what they're not intended is to spend hours and hours and hours of ice cold water being thrown at it constantly, and we've seen many ruined phones. So either protect your phone properly in the bag or make sure that you bring a phone that is really, truly waterproof, especially with ice cold water, which there's a lot of. Tip number four, let's say you actually want to play and participate. What's prime time? Well, that's 2 to 6. And the biggest areas for those of you that want to see the water being thrown, at least in the early days of Songkran, will probably be Soi 6, 7, and 8, and the beer bars facing Beach Road, as well as the Tree Town and Soi Buakaw areas. So for those of you who want to play water, experience it, those are where to go. If you want to avoid the water, especially the first couple days, those are the areas that you want to avoid. Now, as you reach the end of Songkran, especially the 19th, that's citywide. There's no safe place. Every street, soi, and area in the city will party and throw water on the 19th. So if you don't want to get wet at all and you want to avoid that, stay in that day. The other thing we wanted to add to that is many businesses are closed for Songkran for a variety of reasons. But the number one reason being that they send their friends, their family, their staff home so they can enjoy the holiday, right? So as a result, many of the businesses and places that you may be used to, especially many restaurants, won't be open this week, along with immigration, government offices, many banks. So keep in mind, if you have any specific business to do, you'll want to do it before or after Songkran. By the time you see this video, we're probably only about a day or two away from it, so you may want to get that done ASAP. As for tip number 5, watch your feet. And what we mean by that is, I speak from experience here. I actually had trench foot a couple years ago, which is extremely uncomfortable for those of you unfamiliar with it, and basically is caused by chafing. Now, some people will say wear sandals or Crocs the entire time. Make sure the sandals or shoes that you're wearing have the proper resistance on them. Basically what I mean is, you don't want to walk into a bar and have cheap sandals that slip everywhere and slip because the bar is so slick with water. Yeah, I've seen that many times, not a good thing. Now, if you want to wear sneakers or boots, make sure they're tightly sealed, because the last thing you want is water inside of it the entire time and then possibly get trench foot. Tip number 6, wear sunscreen and make sure it's waterproof and truly waterproof. Because people are throwing ice water during Songkran, and I speak from experience here too, it's very, very easy to get major sunburns because you don't feel it. You're being hit with ice water all day, so you literally don't feel that you've got a sunburn until, unfortunately, it's too late. Wear proper sunscreen or wear clothing that basically will protect you, a hat, etc. Which brings us to tip number 7, wearing proper clothes for Songkran. As we already said, dress during the entire festival, in our opinion, preparing to get wet. If you dress this way, again, you won't get angry because you were prepared to get wet. Now, we recommend athletic wear. We recommend not wearing any sort of raincoats or garbage bags. Some people will do that and kind of go over the top. You will be the biggest target to everybody if you wear a raincoat. You're better off wearing some loose-fitting athletic gear that dries very quickly, like mesh or polyester. Also, being sold everywhere that dries pretty easily and as part of the festival are the Songkran t-shirts. These are basically button-up Hawaiian-style t-shirts with a variety of designs, some of them very garish and loud with colors and flowers. They're cheap, they're sold all over the city, and they're an easy thing to wear during Songkran along with board shorts or swimming shorts. We actually recommend not going shirtless for the men because many Thais frown upon this practice. So we instead recommend that you at least wear a very basic Songkran shirt or a very basic athletic shirt. Tip number 8, only a few left, eye care. Lots of people get eye infections during Songkran. I've never had this one, knock on wood, although I have actually had it not in Songkran. That's a whole other story. Some people say wear goggles. Some other people say that's over the top. What we recommend is, number 1, use eye drops after playing in the water because, yes, some of the water can be dirty sometimes. Number 2, if you really want to help protect your eyes but not wear swimming goggles like some people swear on, you can just wear a hat. It also helps protect your hair from the clay and powder and not getting all sorts of that in your hair. But wear a wide brim hat or a similar hat, put it low over your eyes. When you see water coming at your eyes, quickly lower your head. It's worked for me for years, and it's a tip that seems to work for a lot of other people too. Speaking of care, so we talked about your eyes. What about your ears? A lot of people get ear infections. Knock on wood, that's something I haven't had either. But every year that I've seen Songkran, we see lots of this. So for ear care, there's a variety of things you can use. One thing we do recommend is after playing, clean out your ears, use proper drops, use a Q-tip. I know there's that thing that never put anything smaller than an elbow in your ear, but you can get around the outside of your ear, especially with the powder. The last thing you want, I have had this, is your ears clogged up and you cannot hear because it's clogged up with the clay that people put on your faces. Now, technically, clay is banned and prohibited. We'll see if that actually happens. Last tip, but probably the most important one of all. And I will say this is the most important tip. If you're going out and you're out in Songkran and you know it's a water festival, have fun. Smile, relax, don't get angry. You're going to get hit with water. It is the number 1 guaranteed thing. They say there's 2 things guaranteed in life, death and taxes. During Songkran, it's death, taxes, and you will get hit by water. So the more you accept that fact and you walk around with a smile, somebody shoots a gun at you, smile, get ready for it, because it's going to happen. You're going to get hit with water. So expect it. Have a happy Songkran. For those of you who are not participating, enjoy the time at home. For those of you who are, Be safe, have fun, and enjoy. Take care.